yourself more credit. Like, I mean, everyone does actually.
Well, this, I think, may be the most interesting project that we've had yet. This one pushed me out of my comfort zone. It wasn't a copy of anything else. It was harder, better, deeper than anything that I had seen before. So it scared me in a good way.
In the fall of 2017, 23 members of Cohort 6 took on an ambitious project. Their goal was to learn about coaching and the mindset that pervades it, hoping to gain insight into how it might relate to leadership development. Students split into 5 different teams, each of which contributed something unique to the project. Together, the cohort researched coaching topics and put them into practice, using spot coaching as a mechanism to provide experience and insight for the students. After refining these techniques, they practiced with cohorts 5 and 7 and continued to share their knowledge beyond the classroom by promoting the project on various social media platforms.
How is coaching relevant to the students in the Leadership Institute?
As an engineer, our first goal is to figure out what the problem is and solve it. That is what we learn in class. That is the critical thinking mindset. And the coaching mindset is the exact opposite. You're not actually solving anybody's problem for them. You're actually guiding them to their own problem and solution, and you're sitting back and watching.
Last year as sophomores, we really focused on the skills of being a good leader, and I think that those were both social aspects, being able to communicate effectively, recognize different types of people, different personalities, and get along with them, being able to listen, and then also developing our own personal skills, being introspective, being self-aware of what's going on, our own strengths and weaknesses. And I think that this subject of coaching really is the culmination of all that.
You don't want to tell someone what to do, which is what engineers love, but getting them to their solution is really what coaching is about.
Being able to experience what it's actually like to help another person work through any sort of transformational journey that they are and be encouraging but not being controlling has been a really good opportunity for me, not only to better understand the members of my cohort, to help them make decisions and go through a transformational journey of their own, but also to accept the fact that control isn't always good and that it's really okay to lead from behind, encourage, and ensure that other people are making the decisions that work for them.
What were your initial thoughts on coaching, and how have those changed over the course of the semester?
So when we first started off, I really didn't know what to think about coaching. Like I told other people, the only real coaching experience that I had came through sports, which I had always done growing up. But it's kind of interesting because looking back on it, I feel that my perception of coaching was more so a management style rather than coaching. I would say that the most influential coaches that I had really embody what we've talked about in coaching. They got to know me on a personal level. They were always asking me questions, challenging me to be better and improve each and every day. Whereas I feel like in a sports general sense, you don't see that across all coaches.
I just had a sense of, all right, well, I'm going to sit down and talk with someone and try to help them improve on certain skills. And that in essence is correct, but I had no sense of appreciation for what you're doing and how difficult it really is.
When you boil it down, coaching is listening and then asking really insightful questions to lead your client to an impactful solution.
What did you do to teach the students about the coaching mindset? So the coaching and learning team has been doing activities with the class. So usually we do 1 week of teaching and 1 week of activity, and the activity usually is a little coaching session. And so one person is the coach and one person is the coachee. And I really liked having the experience of coaching someone, especially having seen it in a professional setting.
So we really wanted to utilize spot coaching during our presentations so that the members of our institute could get a feel for what coaching was. It's a lot more effective than our team talking to you for 2 hours. So the experience is really why we pick spot coaching. Our spot coaching sessions started out very simple, just a coach and a client, and you still got a feel for what coaching felt like, but as we kind of moved on through the semester and as we were learning about what coaching looked like, we added more observers to that, so that way you could experience the coaching session without having to be totally focused on being the person asking the questions or being the person answering the question.
It's really interesting, I think, to experience both ends of, being the coach and being the coachee, because they are, while it is one like single, session or whatever, it's one coaching session, it's two completely different viewpoints. And so in practicing one while being the other, it kind of gives you a better appreciation for what coaches go through and for what coachees have to do as well.
So the advantage of doing these spot coaching or fishbowl sessions in class was we had the opportunity as a team to kind of pause the discussion and open it up to the entire class and kind of exchange ideas on what you're noticing, what you're observing, and what you're feeling. And that was really advantageous to just get everyone else's thoughts and be prompted to kind of go deeper into the conversation and kind of work through some of those things as a class.
How have the coaching sessions strengthened your understanding of the coaching mindset?
So I think asking the right questions and kind of getting past this mental barrier of, I'm not fixing this problem for them. I'm just somebody who is going to not even necessarily guide them, I would say, because you don't want to lead them in any direction or another, but open things up to them that maybe they wouldn't have been, they wouldn't have experienced without somebody else being there with them.
I'd like to say I've seen people in our cohort step outside of their comfort zone. Coaching is very challenging, and I think everyone in our cohort has been very receptive to the things we're asking them to do, and their comments that they're giving us at the end of their sessions really speaks to me that they're investing time during the activities that we give them, and that they're really challenging themselves.
I had to let go of my preconceptions and my assumptions about who they were, what they were doing, and just let them lead the session.
I think as a team lead, I've learned that I like to do everything on my own, but the best projects and your best product comes from working with people who have different opinions and different thoughts. And my team has been absolutely incredible in providing perspective that I just don't have, and just being very supportive in the whole process of trying to take this whole coaching thing and bring it down to a digestible level.
This is something that you can't really grade, and I think that helps to push people who maybe aren't as self-aware to become more self-aware, because they need to realize that what they're doing directly impacts what we're trying to accomplish or what we're trying to do.
A lot of people have asked why we're doing this, because we're juniors in college and it's a really big project to take on as juniors. But I would say it's really important as something that we're going to take into the future, because in any situation, your boss is going to coach you, you can coach your peers, and it's important to both be able to be coached, to be a coachee, and to be a coach. And while this is a long process, it's not something that we're going to do overnight. It's something that if we already have some experience with it, and then we take that into the job setting, that wherever we're going to end up, no matter if that's engineering related or not, if we decide to leave the engineering field, this is a really great way to have the experience already.
We're diving into an area that for most of us is completely uncharted territory, and I think that's why this project is so special.
So how have you seen your students grow throughout this project?
Oh, it's been amazing. So we walked into this project with no idea really what coaching was. There wasn't one student that had ever been exposed to real professional leadership coaching, ever. I think everyone has learned not only the complexities of being a good coach, but also, maybe more importantly, how to be a great coachee and how to be open and open-minded and self-aware and search deep. So that's a pretty amazing thing to start to get your arms around when you're in your early 20s.